Thank you much, Gergely. My pleasure to be with you and to present my findings, or at least some thoughts in terms of how to make wine tourism sustainable. You started a very interesting discussion just before as well. So I'm really happy to share my thoughts in terms of how we can make this industry much more useful and contributory to our society and to our economy as well. I tried to share my PowerPoint and I hope people can actually see it. I made it full screen. Yeah. So I have been given the role or the task to talk about sustainability in destination development and to share some best practices from Australia, where I used to be based since quite recently. Before I start, I would like to challenge in some way the terminology sustainability, not the concept per se, but the way that we probably have interpreted or we have tried to apply it. There are a lot of discussions, particularly during the last years because of COVID, that when we talk about sustainability, we give too much focus on trying to, in general, reduce the footprints or the negative impacts that our consumption has, instead of trying to create value through the consumption. So you might be familiar with many, let's say, concepts or models of sustainability that they focus on many R's. For example, like reduction of waste, replenishing lost resources or consumed resources, recycling, reusing. Not many of them, they are talking about regenerating resources or even producing resources and value through our consumption. This kind of mentality or this kind of rationale is in some way being introduced by concepts like regenerative tourism or transformative experiences or transformative research that many researchers in some way and industry practice appreciate or they try to put into reality. So the rationale is that through consumption, we should not only consume resources or we should not consume them or destroy value. Through our consumption, we should be able to learn things, to create value, to become better citizens, better consumers, and also to, in some way, generate new resources and not just replenish the ones that we use. So if this is the mentality, can we really make the wine tourism transformative? Is that possible? Well, it is. As you can see here from a really funny label I've seen in a winery, we can do wine tourism transformative. It can create happiness or well-being in general. But let's see some examples. Or before we see some examples, I'll give you some hints in terms of why wine can become transformative and what is the potential affordability behind it. A basic question to think about: why people drink? Not why people drink wine specifically, but why people drink or go out for drinking. Somebody might think about the hierarchy of Maslow needs. And they might say, we drink because we are thirsty, we need to satisfy our basic physical need. We drink because we need to secure our existence. Our body is probably more than 80% of water, isn't it? We go out for drinking and we share drinks, a glass of wine, a beer, water, to feel that we belong in a company, to share experience with others, to become part of a group, to in some way celebrate common days or events. And we even drink because we want to self-develop ourselves. We want to learn something, We want to learn the history of a place, the habits, the culture of a destination. We want to become better people as well. And during the last years, as you can imagine, particularly in wine tourism or in the drinking industry, a lot of emphasis is being placed on the satisfaction of this higher level of needs. And I'll give you an example of a drink that everybody knows, Red Bull. How Red Bull promotes itself. I mean, everybody is familiar with the slogan they have, Red Bull gives you wings. They don't really promote the technical characteristics of the drink, that it has taurine, that they have the patent of this technical characteristic, that when you include it in the Red Bull, it keeps you awake, it gives you energy, it enables you to achieve everything, to stay awake all night and club, to stay awake all night and study, to pass exams, to do whatever you want. So what they really promote is not the technical characteristics, that it tastes nice, it has very good taste, it has ingredients that they can help you to do stuff. They don't even promote feelings, how it makes you feel when you drink it, or how it makes you feel when you engage in any type of experiences or adventures that Red Bull usually promotes. It doesn't promote or tells you about any experiences or emotions. What they actually try to promote to you is that Red Bull is a solution to any problem that you want to solve, and it has meaning to you to solve it. So if you're a youngster, for example, and you want to go clubbing, Red Bull is the solution to your problem. It makes sense to you. It makes you happy to go clubbing all night. Red Bull will give you that. If you're a person that you want to pass to the university and it has meaning for you to pass to a university or to achieve another goal, Red Bull is the solution to you. So Red Bull doesn't sell ingredients, how it tastes, or whether it is an authentic wine or a local grape variety. It doesn't sell you an experience. It doesn't sell you a feeling. It sells you the meaning, the reason why it is important for you to drink it, and the reason why for you it is important to achieve things, to achieve a goal. And we can see that in many advertisements and in many promotions that Red Bull provides. If you go to their website, they are sharing and they're promoting many stories of different heroes that we have, idols, that we want to become like them. They might be artists, they might be athletes, they might be people they do extreme sports, they might be artists that they do events. So you go online on the Red Bull and you read the story of people that they have cycled Australia within, I don't know, 3-6 months, and they've done it. You've seen athletes that they become the winners in the Grand Prix, in 3D experiences, whatever you name it. And they have many achievements in many different fields that they try to persuade you that you can actually achieve them when you drink Red Bull. Any type that you might like. It can be running, ultra marathon, expeditions. It can be culture, music, fashion, clubbing, dance. It can be water sports. It can be anything. Whatever makes sense to you as a person, whatever can help you to become a better citizen and achieve these higher level needs that Maslow has always been claiming before. So what is the lesson learned from this kind of an example? The lesson learned is that if we want to create a wine tourism experience or a wine experience, that it can help people to transform themselves, we really need to build this kind of wine offering into 3 levels. The basic one, that of course it includes the physical attributes, the technical characteristics, the quality of the drink, the way you produce it, the way it tastes, because they are still important and people appreciate them. Around these physical attributes, you have to build the credence attributes. The fact that this Red Bull is good for your health. It has been used by athletes and famous people, and it has helped them. And above that, you also have to include cultural attributes. Cultural attributes that they represent or they try to reflect the history of a place, the traditions, the passion of a family-run entrepreneur, the viticulture, the enology history of a place, that they in some way transfer values and meanings to people that they actually consume this kind of wine offering. All the 3 attributes, they are important and they persuade people to buy wine or to buy wine experiences. If you think about the way that we can develop wine labels, or we can interpret or describe and promote wine experiences, we always try to give emphasis on the physical attributes, the texture, the taste, the nose, whatever else factors you might think about. Credence attributes, whether a wine is organic, whether it respects the viticulture and the way of grape growing of a region, whether there is a local grape variety that you have revived, whether a winery respects environmental standards and certifications that you might have for that. But we always try to enrich this kind of wine offering or experience with many other cultural attributes, stories that the winemakers have to say to us, reasons why a particular wine is consumed during a specific event, or the way you have to drink it and the locals drink it. The long history of the wine making, the history of a wine family, and for how long they have producing the wine, the way they barrel it, any type of cultural or heritage aspects that they go around it. Wine tourism in some way enable us to integrate all these 3 aspects, because we have the wine field that provides all these technical characteristics of the wine terroir, the ground, the climate, the temperature, and then we have the tourism field that has a lot of cultural and credits attributes to include into a wine experience. So what we basically want to achieve when we create transformative wine experiences is to try to embody or include all the different natural built environments, physical environments, the human environment, the community environment, the cultural heritage into this wine tourism experience that people would like to experience, and it can help them to become better citizens and create new value, as I said before. So let's see some examples from Aussie, where I have been based for a couple of years in the past, and I believe they can teach us something in terms of how we can achieve these transformative, sustainable wine tourism experiences. Well, first of all, what we really need to do is to valorate and give, in some way, exposure and learnings to the cultural winescape ecosystem through the wine experiences that we want to sell. One example that I thought of talking about is the nomination of Mount Lofty region, which is the region around Adelaide, the city where I have been based, to the World Heritage UNESCO site designation. Many wine destinations have achieved it already. Think about Oporto, for example. Getting a designation by UNESCO, it helps you promote the values of your local place, to respect them, and a way, of course, to create a marketing campaign, recognition, and an attraction for local tourists. The way, however, this local region has tried to nominate this region for UNESCO designation, it was first of all to try to prove the cultural heritage and the resources that the region has. It has created a very interactive map whereby you can see on the map with different colors, and you can navigate the map around to see what you can experience and to learn about the history of the place. And not just the history, but also the local current events that they continue happening, and they respect the traditional values of the traditional owners of the land, as the Australians, they actually say. The key success factor behind this nomination and the whole project that it was running, it was first of all the multi-stakeholder engagement and involvement that the group that it was tasked to deliver this kind of project has actually done. They have engaged a lot of stakeholders, and not only from the wine industry or the tourism industry. These are the two most obvious ones, as you can imagine: hoteliers and restaurants and winemakers and wineries and wine associations and tourism associations and professional bodies of wine professionals. But they have also included communities that they represent, heritage professionals, museums, galleries, artists, the creative industries, festival operators. They have included representatives from the indigenous communities. As you have heard or you know, indigenous tourism or indigenous tribes in Australia are very important and very much in some way respected. They have engaged local councils, federal government, state government, ministers, members of different governmental agencies. And the reasons why they have engaged them, it was not only cosmetic. The reason why they have engaged them, it was because what they also wanted to achieve, it was an integration of policies or even strategic plans. And when I mean integration, as you can imagine, every single stakeholder, the tourism industry, the wine industry, the agricultural ministry, each one of them have their own policies, their own priorities, or even strategic plans. How to develop a region, how to develop it for, let's say, farm growing, or for tourism purposes, or to build an hotel, or to create a new motorway, or not to touch it because it is an indigenous place. So what they really had to do is not only to take part in meetings and different workshops. Basically, what these stakeholders had to do is to coordinate all their priorities, agree what the priorities are amongst them, and of course, to create policies that they are very much collaborative. You can't have a policy, for example, whereby you cannot consume wine in open space and you can try to promote wine tourism or festivals around wine tourism. You can't have a policy whereby you don't allow people to farm in a region because it is an indigenous place, and at the same time, you want to promote or to revive indigenous grape varieties in this place. So everybody had to co-agree. They had in some way to trade off their interests and to try to find a common place of collaboration in some way. Multi-stakeholder involvement is very important as well because it does allow you to distribute benefits in an area in a much more balanced way. And the example that I have here for you, it comes from an island called the Waikiki. This is a very famous island. It's only about half an hour sail from Auckland, the capital of New Zealand. it is a kind of a theme park, but it is a theme park that it totally respects the local culture, the local communities, and of course, the indigenous people living in that. It is in some way a place that people from the urban city of Auckland, they can go for a day out to have a drink, to take part in a festival, to go for a hike in a rural place. The way that they have actually developed this island, which is quite small, as you can imagine, is through a collaboration of many people. A company that you see here called Fuller, which is the boat company operating the frequent services from Auckland to the island. A local travel agent having a double-deck bus to travel you around, because mobility, as you can imagine, is very important in rural areas, in wine regions, whereby there are no public buses. You don't want to drink and drive. You can't walk. And you want a way whereby people, in a very affordable, safe way, can move from one place to another. So you have this travel agency that has the double-deck bus, and you have many other wine-related companies that they have agreed to have a stop and to enable this hop-on, hop-off bus to bring people around. And as you can see here, the venues and the type of companies or entrepreneurs or family businesses that they have become part of this, they're very varied. They divert from, let's say, restaurants, wineries, hotels, cafeterias, galleries, any outdoor activities, farmhouses, and they're all happy to receive the tourists and distribute them around. And if a place is full, the bus, it will simply don't stop, or it will stop to pick up people, but it will not allow people to get off. So they also try to manage the type of, the number of people visiting the different places around. You can even enjoy, as I said, the rural place. You don't have to drink. Drinking is not necessary. Huakiki is a family destination that it can satisfy the needs of all three generations, grandparents, parents, and children. And it has a huge, in some way, diversity of things that you can actually do. The other example I have here for you, it comes from a winery in Barossa, in South Australia. It's called the Seppelfields. It is a winery or a wine resort because they have developed a huge resort, actually a village around wine. And the type of the experiences that you can have, they are multiple, as you can see here. And they are not only about wine tasting or wine tours or cellar door visits. They have a policy whereby they outsource a lot of activities, and they invite many entrepreneurs in their village to enrich the experiences that you can have. They have a restaurant, they call it Fino, operated by a famous chef. They have a coffee outlet called the Octane, where you can enjoy coffee or you can have a picnic in the vineyards, outside, outdoors. They have a jam factory. Jam Factory is a non-profit organization that supports many craft makers and local entrepreneurs, whereby you can learn how to make glass, you can make leather items, how you can make knives, how you can make hats, anything that you wish. They have Vase Virgin, another local entrepreneur that they specialize in producing organic products like soaps and food items from olive oil and other olive produce. They have a Segway whereby you can go tours to the vineyards in a sustainable way. They have a Cooperage where you can learn a lot about barrels and how you can make things from wood. They have a fine art gallery where you can see artifacts produced by local entrepreneurs and artists. And they also operate and they make many events, from food festivals, open markets where local farmers, they can sell you local food items. They have music events from local music artists that they play the local music, and anything that you can imagine. So if I go online, and I'll try to share my screen with you, and you can do this on your leisure time as well. No, sorry, I shared the wrong screen. Seems it doesn't help. Sorry, you have to bear with me. Yeah, that's the one. So if you go to the website of the Sepperfield, you see they have got many awards as well on a continuous basis. And you scroll down to their webpage, you see they have actually created a village. You can go there and spend a full day or even multiple days. It's not only their cellador and wine experiences. As I said, they have developed this village on an outsourcing non-profit cooperation with many other organizations, profit-making organizations, non-profit organizations like the Jam Factory, entrepreneurs like the Vase Virgin. They have a local chef that tries to promote the local cuisine, and they always use him for all the functions they do, from weddings, food markets, any other open event. And whenever you go to the website or to the webpage of these entrepreneurs, you will see that it's not only about seeing, about being passive. You can actually take part, as you can see here, in many workshops. How to make things from a clay, how to make a knife, how to make different artists, how to make things from metal. And you can learn and you can hear the stories of local people, and you can even support them by buying artifacts that they produce. You can visit the gallery, and you can support all these local communities and entrepreneurs in a very sustainable, creative, and very fun way as well. So things don't have to be developed alone in some way. You can create partnerships, which is very important, and you can invite in your space many other local communities to enrich the experiences that you have. However, Sepperfield doesn't have accommodation yet, which is very important because, as I said, you can spend multiple days there, having many different experiences for many people, all the three generations. They have cooperation with 3 local providers, so that you can find an accommodation to stay, and you see that they promote them on their website. But recently, they have announced that they are going to build an iconic superstar 6-star hotel at the Sepperfield, just next to the vineyards. And this is how the hotel is going to look like. It is very modern. It is very luxurious because they aim to attract the luxurious tourists. But as you can imagine, it doesn't fit with the environment. It looks more like a Las Vegas building, a Dubai attraction, or whatever you might think about it. The whole concept, it has created very negative publicity for them negative reactions from the local community. If you search online, you will see that many residents and local councils, they have brought Sepperfields to the court to try to stop this multi-million tourism development attraction. So far, it seems the local communities have won. The Sepperfields family and the whole winery is trying to readapt the design of this hotel to fit more the local communities, because what they have been promoting so far and what at least they have been arguing so far is that they do try to respect the local values. So I'm just giving that as an example to see that achieving this integration in some way, or cooperation and respect of local values, it's not always easy. Even a player that for many years it has shown respect, it seems that they were going to make a major mistake, but hopefully they can actually correct it and go back to what values or what issues they have been trying to promote for the last years. A last example before I close. Many wineries in Australia and worldwide, they try to use art to enrich wine experiences and to make them more attractive and appealing. But a big fault that is usually done is that they use art as a beautification issue. They use art to make things more hedonistic, to use music so you have nice things to hear, to use art to make a beautiful design, to use architecture to make buildings more appealing, let's say. However, art has more potential to make wine experiences more transformative if you use it in the correct way. So let's see an example of how art can be used to create transformative wine experiences and not hedonistic wine experiences. First of all, when we talk about art, it doesn't have to be only about fine art, high art, you know, opera, Mozart, modern painting. Art can be anything. It can even be art from the public, the very common people around us. So have you ever imagined this person, a local engineer, a local farmer, a builder, a mechanic that repairs cars, can be an artist? Why not? And he can be a very creative artist, in fact. This is a real person. He's a car repair in Perth who is very creative. He's actually using any metals that he gets from cars that he repairs to create sculptures and to persuade people that recycling and respect of local values is important. So a very famous wine region in Perth, which is called the Swan Valley wine region, has invited him to display his sculptures in different places around the wine region. So this is a map of the wine region. The Swan Valley wine region, it goes around the Swan River, which you see here, and you have wineries along the river. And on the map, they were displaying where you can see the sculptures created by this person. All the sculptures, they are inspired from the local trees, the local flowers, or the local animals of Australia. So you see this sculpture being proud of his sculpture and the metals that he has used to create them. His belief is that everybody can learn from his artistic sculptures what is the local fauna and flora, but particularly why it is important to do recycling. And he believes that the kids, that they like to play with his sculpture, to climb on the sculpture, to touch it, to hide themselves behind it, they can learn in a very edutainment and fun way why it is important, even from the small age, to recycle and to respect your environment. The last example I have is from an arts festival in Penola, Coonawarra, another famous region in South Australia. They have an arts festival whereby they invite everyone from the community to become part, from painters, photographers, singers, local bands, and they invite, or in some way they oblige, wineries, restaurants, open spaces to host these artists and to give them the floor to perform. It is for free for enterprises to participate, and it is for free for people also to take part. And the purpose of this festival, which usually runs for a couple of days, as you can see here, and definitely a weekend, it tries to promote local heritage, values, wine, drinking, anything that relates to the local values of the region as well. So the message is, do use and embed art in wine tourism experiences, but don't use it as an object to beautify things. Use the art as a way, as a mean to trigger people's thoughts, their cognition, their learning, their social capabilities, and of course, to invite them to co-create experiences, to learn something, how to make, I don't know, soap from olive trees, how to paint with sustainable colors, and why a painting from a local vineyard symbolizes and what it symbolizes. So in general, we have to de-think about how to create and sell wine experiences. We have to rethink how we cooperate with local communities, local entrepreneurs, local artists, local tourists, create partnerships, invite them to our spaces, and co-create all together experiences that they make meaning. They help us to rethink our purpose. They help us to rethink why we exist, why we drink, or why we do things. Thank you very much. I hope I have given you some good food for thought and some good examples that in some way people can transfer them to whatever destination or place they are.
Dear Marianna, thank you very much for this very motivating and inspiring presentation. We all enjoyed, especially the different examples from all over the world. And what came to my mind while listening your presentation was that we don't have to reinvent the wheel again and again and again. Actually, we just have to look around and look around what people in the New World, people also in the Old World countries do, and what kind of sustainable effect, for example, here local craft industry and things like this has, and just bring together for those they really think seriously to do something towards sustainable development. Thank you very much again. And now we open the floor for questions. We have, I think, some questions in the chat. Angus, would you please? Yep.
Yeah, hello. We've got one question in the chat in regards to the proposed $50 million investment in the Barossa region. So that article was from September 2020. What has happened since then?
I haven't followed the news, to be honest, but you can Google search and you can see if there is any latest development. but I know it is a very hot issue. I don't know if you're familiar with South Australia. Some years ago, the government has financed another project in McLaren wine region, the Darenberg Cube project. Have you heard of that? I'll try to find the website and share it with you. Let me share my screen. So a few years ago, the state government, I don't know if you can see it, has financed an iconic building, which you see it here. It's very iconic. It looks like the Cube. It is a winery and cellar door, that it has many floors. It is iconic from the architecture. It was another multi-billion project co-funded by the state government. The reason why the government did it, and they gave the money to this wine entrepreneur in McLaren, was because they wanted to create an attraction to bring more people to McLaren Valley, because McLaren Valley is, let's say, the secondary wine destination. Barossa has the glory, you know. The government gave this money to co-fund this project, which was huge, on the basis that there were going to be created jobs in the region for regional development, that there were going to be tourists traveling there. And of course, when you go to a wine destination, you don't only visit one winery, you will go also to a restaurant, you will go to a farm, you will probably stay in an hotel. So many others will also benefit. And to a certain extent, this is proven. They gave the money because there is a clause that 80% of the staff working in that establishment, it has to be local people. And because there is always this competition between McLaren and Barossa, in some way, the state is also involved in the Barossa. They want to support it because otherwise they will have internal politics. They've done it in one destination, they haven't done it in another. So apart from, yes, local communities, wineries, tourism associations, there are also these governmental politics, and elections are coming soon. So as you can imagine, I really don't know what is happening in the space. I know it is a very hot issue, and there are many interests being involved as well. So you really need to, Google search it, what's the current issues.
Thank you very much.
Iconic buildings, it is a kind of a trend in destinations in Australia.
Yeah, it looks like, but I think there is also a certain risk, as I learned from you, to plan and to invest something like this, because it's totally, it could be or might be totally destroy the local view and how people know the destination. So I just ask here in our room, the audience, do we have questions to Marianna? It is not the case. Then I will thank you again. Thank you very much, Marianna, for your time.
Thank you.
And enjoy Tenerife, and see you soon, hopefully.
Very happy to be with you, and all the best for the continuation of the conference.